Hello, I'm Dan Robinson with FPTV, here today with Richard S. Drake and Chuck Roberts, producers of On the Air with Richard S. Drake, celebrating 25 years on Fayetteville Public Access Television, July the 1st.
25 years.
25 years. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I bet it's a little odd to be on the other side.
It is kind of funny to be a guest rather than the person asking the questions.
So tell us about the show, On the Air with Richard S. Drake. How would you describe it?
It's like this. I have a low threshold of boredom. So the show is going to vary wildly from week to week. It's an interview show, but it's like I read the papers and I see who interesting guests might be, but I don't like to have the same type of show 2 weeks in a row. In fact, we don't even have guests that look the same 2 weeks in a row.
Wow.
So the casual viewer doesn't turn on TV and say, "Oh, I saw that one."
Right. So you guys, after 25 years, you do have a wide repertoire of interviews to choose from.
Yeah.
And you do put those together in new mixes for people to be able to see those in different lights with topics and whatnot?
Yeah. Now, Chuck's been my director, gosh, 10 years now?
Probably. I'm trying to think of when I joined up. Was it 05 or was it
It was
earlier?
06. 06, I think.
06. Okay.
No, maybe it was 04.
Because you had kind of stopped doing the show for a while.
Because I got sick.
You
I
got
sick for a few
sick.
months.
You got out of the hospital. You were talking about wanting to do it again.
Yeah,
And that was when we started.
yeah.
Wow.
It started out as a call-in show.
Oh, wow.
And there was this great guy on Fayetteville Open Channel back in the 1980s, Peter Harkins, and he would just sit behind a desk with a typewriter, and he would take all calls that came in and talk to anybody. And when I was covering, I was a reporter for an alternative newspaper called The Grapevine, and I was covering the Quorum Court meeting, and the camera person from Fayetteville Open Channel was there, who was covering the Quorum Court meetings, and I said, "Why don't y'all have a call-in show anymore?" And he said, "You want to do one?" It's like, that's how life works. So
So in the 80s, you're saying it was Fayetteville Open Channel?
it started in 1980. Public Access started on April 1st, 1980, as Fayetteville Open Channel. And
Okay.
it was Fayetteville Open Channel until the Access War back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And that's actually a documentary. We did a documentary about the Access War. But until the Access War in the early 90s, and it split off. And then that was like pretty exciting. 8 board members walked out on live TV.
Wow.
I'll tell you that story. But and that became Access for Fayetteville, which is a kind of an unwieldy name.
Yeah.
And then it became Access for Fayetteville, changed its name to Community Access Television.
Okay.
And then,
Now we're at Fayetteville Public Access Television.
but the two names people still call it. They either call it Open Channel or they call it Community Access TV, or CAT, yeah. Nobody's ever going to call it Fayetteville Public Access Television. I don't know who saddled us with that moniker, but
Plenty of characters in that
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So we're looking to the future as FPTV.
Yes.
So much few letters
Yeah.
in that one. So 25 years ago was 1991,
Right.
if my math is correct.
Yes.
So tell us what it was like in 1991 producing a show.
well, the first show, and it was live because we were doing call-ins. We had, because they were doing short takes. I think they were calling take fives at the time, and they would do those right up until 15 minutes before we'd go on the air. And so we had 15 minutes to build the set. And the flats were pretty heavy. I mean, each flat weighed close to 100 pounds. And so we had like 4 flats behind us, and we had to set the couch up and do the sound checks all within 15 minutes.
Wow.
And it was hot. And the first show, we didn't have one of those little speaker boxes from Radio Shack. So it was kind of like an episode of Ghost Whisperer. So the person would call, and I would talk to them. Then I would relay the call. I would relay the question to the guest.
Wow.
That's a show that's never going to be played again.
Well, I don't know. I think we need to bring that back. That sounds exciting.
I still have it. I mean, I still have it, but it's and it's one of those old shows where I still had hair. Before I started shaving my head. And I had this god awful hair. But it's an interesting show. Interesting, and we used to actually take a break halfway through, and we used to go to the Fayetteville Open Channel Library and get a short 5 or 10 minute piece and put it in the middle of the show. That gives everybody a chance to go to the bathroom and then come back to the set.
Nice.
But it was hot.
Oh.
because we couldn't run the air conditioner,
Yeah.
and everybody was just sweltering in the heat. And on live TV, you take the chance, walls fall down,
Right.
things fall off the wall.
Wow. So, formats. Talk to us about what are the formats you guys have been through.
Okay, well, you've been with me since the early 2000s, so we never did call-ins at that point, did we?
No, we didn't do call-ins. Big thing as far as what I've seen from when I started doing stuff down here back in the mid to late 90s up till now is kind of the whole change of look, which was
Yeah.
kind of maybe something our hand was kind of forced on that rather than a conscious decision we made.
Well, actually, we did call-ins for a while, for 3 years, and it was pretty exciting. But after a while, you realize that like talk radio, the same group of people are calling every week. You've got like 6 or 7 committed callers, and I don't care if it's television or radio. That's what you get, and then you're talking, and you're having a good conversation, and then somebody calls and says, "What are you talking about?"
What are
Or-
y'all doing?
Yeah, or they ask and answer a question. They ask a question that's been asked and answered 10 minutes before. So it really, there was a brouhaha over live call-ins because there was some frat guys who had a show and they were lighting farts on the air and giving out women's phone numbers. So
That doesn't sound like cliche public access at all.
no, that put the kibosh on live call-ins for a while. And so we started doing taped, and after a while we realized this is much better because we can concentrate on just pure conversation.
Nice.
And of course, you get the people who enjoy popping off of the occasional obscenity.
Right. And so you have that buffer there when it's
Yeah,
taped.
but the best thing to do is just ignore it, act like it never happened.
Right.
But we've made a lot of changes to the show over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, a lot of it was kind of a case of our hand being forced. I mean, this guy actually taught my first studio class when I started coming down here.
Wow.
And we were taught how to construct a set, and we used a lot of the old flats, and we did some volunteer time, I think, on the air back before I actually joined the show officially. But we, I don't know, we used to have all the flats, and we had a big fireplace, and we had the whole setup. And
It was an elaborate set.
It sounds like it with a fireplace.
Yeah, and I taught studio for 6 years.
set construction was a big part of it back then.
It was, but it got to the point really where at the end, one person could build a set in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Because the flats were a lot lighter, so you could handle them a lot easier, and you knew where everything went.
So, Chuck, you were associated with another iconic and somewhat legendary show here on Public Access, Abbey of the Lemur.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that guy. Freak had dreads down to his knees. I think he may have brain damage or something.
So, yes, that had quite the legacy on Public Access. I think it was a source of a complaint or two.
Yeah. There were a couple of people who weren't liking it.
Yeah.
Manufactured
Can't please
complaints.
everybody.
Well, that's edgy television, right?
Yeah, it was different.
It was all political. They were manufactured complaints.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a friend of the mayor's would call. And it was like, call in with a complaint, so.
Right. So in 2000, I guess there was a landmark of some sort.
Yes, 20 years on the air, and I've been going, I have in my garage, the archives for public access for the last 25 years or so.
Wow.
And I've been going through them slowly because you have to go through it page by page by page because kind of like being an amateur historian. But one of the things I came across was a proclamation from the mayor of Fayetteville, Fred Hanna, who is no particular friend of public access.
Right.
But he did sign this proclamation, which is honoring public access for being on the air for 20 years. So I'm gonna
That's
give this to
amazing.
you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you holding on to that, and it's going to be nice to hang this in our newly remodeled facility.
It is very pretty. It's very nice.
It is. It's going to be beautiful. So, tell us about what you see the future of public access being. As veterans of public access, what would you like to see the future of public access being?
Well, I'm tremendously excited by the fact that we're on the internet. And I like the fact that classes are free. I really like the fact classes are free. I wish that the city of Fayetteville would expand and allow people from other communities once again to take classes here as we did for decades. And I think that would expand our, not only our viewership base, but our base of producers. But I think the internet, using the internet and promoting shows on the internet is a great way, is a great thing for public access. Of course, we also have to remember that its main focus still is television. And how people judge us is by what they see. They don't care about the behind-the-scenes political battles. I'm not sure if more people watch us on the internet or on television now, but I know I check public access every hour.
Wow. And we appreciate that.
Yeah, I just so I can call in and whine about something.
If something's not working.
Yeah, but I think its main focus is still TV, but I'm just very excited about the internet.
Well, we're excited about it too. Last year we had people watch in 49 out of 50 states.
Wow,
And
not
people,
bad.
Yep, everywhere but North Dakota. But they don't have internet yet there.
Well, maybe we should urge them to secede. There's
They just got
and
that mountain.
it's real nice that people can edit on their own machines now at home
Yeah.
and use their own equipment.
Yes, that was a big change over. There was definitely the era where the only place that video could be worked on would be at the facility.
And Marvin Hilton, one of our first cable administrators, was really big into promoting that people could use their equipment at home and edit at home.
Wow.
And he's never really gotten any kind of credit for pushing that. So I just wanted to mention Marvin today.
Very nice. If I were to describe your style of like news and then also the show in general, you definitely utilize satire and sarcasm in your methodology.
On occasion, yeah, but it's also a straight conversation too. And I
Exactly.
think you can draw more flies with honey than vinegar.
Right?
And even though I get a lot of people, we used to get a lot more people who were opposed to me politically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I'm on a blacklist now with some
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah, you're on the don't.
Don't go on Richard Drake's show.
Yeah, just say I was gonna try to draw some parallel about the don't fly list. You know,
Yeah.
don't guest list or something.
Because we are straight in a conversation, but I don't like it when liberals or conservatives throw cliches at me. I hate it. I despise it because it's like cliches are like it's like intellectual shorthand. And as for a lot of people, it's like, well, I think they're on talk radio where no one's going to challenge them. And if people want to throw cliches at me, I'm just going to be a little bit upset.
Well, there you go. And
But-
so there is a movement now saying that people should label satire. They're saying on the internet, if you're going to post something as news, that if it's going to be satirical news, that you have to call it that so that you don't accidentally confuse people.
Oh boy.
Our only hope for a
Here we go.
species, our only hope for a species is that people who promote such a view are sterile. Because I've been writing humor since I was in high school, right? I mean, I've been a straight journalist. I've been writing humor, but honestly, if you can't, there are people who actually get angry if they see a piece of humor and can't tell and have to be told it's humor. And there are people you see on Facebook where people will find a humor site and they'll find something like something supposedly Sarah Palin said, and it's so ridiculous that no, even someone who despises Sarah Palin could tell, no, she didn't say this. But there are people who post it and go, look, she's so stupid. And go, no, please don't do that. You're making liberals look stupid when you do that. This fight's gone back to Jonathan Swift
Yeah.
with his proposal to solve the Irish problem, which was to eat Irish babies. The famine problem in Ireland was to eat Irish babies. And the people who didn't get the satire were just so enraged. They were infuriated. The best piece of satire I ever saw was in the military newspaper Stars and Stripes. And I think I may have told you this story the other day. When you're in the military, when you grow up in the military, at the movie theater, they always play the national anthem. And out of respect, you stand. And there are people who didn't, this was the 70s, so there are people who said, I'm not going to stand for the national anthem. And this was creating just a mini controversy where one didn't need to exist. So some second lieutenant wrote a letter to Stars and Stripes and said, we should have the MPs with their truncheons at the door, and when people don't stand for the national anthem, they should beat them into submission. And people went crazy over that. They went berserk, you know. And no, if people don't understand humor, if people don't understand satire, it's on them. It's not the fault of the people doing humor or satire.
I agree.
There's not enough humor in the world.
Yeah, I agree about that too.
I just want to tell the viewers that it's very easy to get involved, and it's people think, oh, I can't manage television, but if you could manage a computer keyboard, you can learn television. If you
Absolutely.
can handle your video camera at home, you can handle public access television.
That's right. And the goal is that you use this resource to make your voice heard and get your message out, whatever that might be.
And because we are, just if I can just say this before we go,
Please.
the Northwest Arkansas Mall used to have quilts on the wall from various groups. And I was just walking through the mall one day and I saw this one quilt and one patch was dedicated to public access television. And we knew nothing about this at the station, but it was really interesting because it's like what we are like a giant community quilt. And we show the diversity of the community. And we show things to people who may not otherwise know they're there. So we show all facets of Fayetteville life because everyone in Fayetteville is welcome to come down here. And so people learn a lot about their own community just by watching public access.
Absolutely. And people can check out On the Air with Richard S. Drake on the Fayetteville Public Access Television YouTube channel.
That's right, on the infernal internet.
That's
Where
right.
we are,
They
yes.
can subscribe and see the new episodes and definitely look back and see
Yeah.
the history that you have captured so well.
Even the shows with bad hair.
That's right. Well, I want to congratulate you guys on 25 years. I want to thank you for all of your contributions to Fayetteville Public Access Television in all of its incarnations over the last 2
It's
decades.
been a lot of fun.
Thank you again, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Dan, thanks very much for having us.
You bet.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for watching Fayetteville Public Access Television.